but side by side it has a lot of criticism. So what are the criticism? Now Lamarck has suggested these 4 propositions. So those who criticized Lamarckism, according to them, the first point that is the internal vital force, this has no ground at all. No ground at all. That means there is no internal force and internal desire which will change the characters. It is completely no ground. Now come to the second point. The second point is the effect of environment and new needs. So the environment may have certain effect, but that is not heritable. Or you can say the effect is negligible. The effect is negligible and do not produce new organs. Then the third point, that is use and disuse of organs. Now the third point, that is use and disuse of organs, is correct to some extent. Correct to some extent. And the fourth point, that is the inheritance of acquired characters, the fourth point, it is completely disputed. Completely disputed. That means the acquired characters are actually inherited. That is subject to criticism. And the greatest criticism to Lamarckism comes from Weismann's theory of continuity of germplasm. So that is the criticism. So the criticism comes from Weismann's theory of continuity of germplasm, and it put this theory in 1892. So according to Weismann's theory of continuity of germplasm, each organism has 2 types of cells. Some are somatic cells and some are germ cells. Now the germ cells, they produce the gametes, eggs, and these germ cells are inherited from generation to generation. But the somatic cells, they do not take part in inheritance. So how the acquired characters, those which are acquired by the somatic cells, how it will be inherited? This is the question. That is why he didn't support Weismann's theory. And for this, in support of Weismann's theory, there are some examples to cite it. Examples in favor of Weismann's theory. So what are the examples? Number 1 example. Weismann caught the tails of rats for 22 generations. Weismann caught the tails of rats for 22 generations, and in each generation he allowed them to breed, and found that in each generation again the tails are coming. So if the acquired characters would have been inherited, then in the next generation the offspring should not have tail. But for all the 22 generations, even if the tails were caught and after that breeding was done, but still then the tails arose in all the 22 generations. So this is the first criticism. Then the second one is boring of pinna and nose of Indian women. Usually Indian women, they bore their external pinna and the nose for use of ornaments. But if this character would have been inherited, then the offsprings should have also hold ears and noses. But that is not there. The third one, we can take that of the athletes. Now athletes have strong muscles, but their musculature is not inherited, because their offsprings, they may also be weak. The fourth example that can we take of the Nobel laureates. The Nobel laureates are very intelligent, but what about their children? Are all the children of the Nobel laureates are also very intelligent? No, anything may happen. That means the aquatic characters are not inherited. Now the next example we can give also that of the Pavlov, one Russian scientist. Now Pavlov, the Russian scientist, trained some mice to come for food when a bell will ring. So the mice were trained, but he found that the offsprings they didn't come when the bell rang, and again they have to give training fresh. So if the aquatic characters would have been inherited, so naturally the offspring should come for food when the bell rings, but that didn't happen. So that experiment was done by Pavlov, the Russian scientist. Now another in favor of Weismann's theory. Now suppose you take the eyes of voracious readers, those who read always, that means they use their eyes frequently. So according to Lamarck, when we use a particular organ continuously, extensively, that should be stronger and bigger. But what happens to the eyes of the voracious readers? It remains same. Again, you can give the example of the suppose our tongue, starting from our birth till now, we are always going on speaking this and that always. But what about our tongue? Has it become longer and stronger? No. You can take also the example of the vertebrate hearts. Vertebrate's heart. The heart of the vertebrates, it always beats non-stop from birth till death. That means continuously it is beating. But is the size of the heart is increasing? No. So all these points they support Weismann's theory. Means these are the criticism to that of Lamarckism. But in spite of all these criticism in to Lamarckism and in support of Weismann, there is one consolation. So what is that consolation? So the consolation we can take that of the vegetative propagation. Vegetative propagation and regeneration in animals. Now as we know, some plants are vegetatively propagated. So those plants which are vegetatively propagated, they give rise to flowers. The flowers are the sexual organs of the plant, and again they give rise to germ cells. That means the somatic cells are giving rise to germ cells. So naturally the it will have influence on the germ cells. When the somatic cells are giving rise to germ cells, whatever changes occur in the somatic cells must have some effect on the germ cells. It is only a consolation to Lamarckism, and it's a slight criticism to Weismann. So these are the different points. But what is the conclusion? The conclusion is known as Neo-darwinism. Neo-darwinism. So Neo-darwinism means a modified form of Lamarckism. Neo-darwinism. So Neo-darwinism means the modified form of Lamarckism. Now, according to this Neo-darwinism, the first point is that the germ cells are not immune to environment. Germ cells are not immune. They are not immune from the effect of environment. That means Lamarck told that the environment has some effect on the organism, but when the organism has germ cells, so how can it be that it will be completely immune to the environment? It will have some effect. The second point is the germ cells may be affected without affecting the somatic cells. That is also possible. So the second point is germ cells may be affected. Germ cell may be affected without somatic cells. And the third point is that is first internal vital force and appetency, they do not have any role in evolution. The internal vital force and appetency do not play any role. Do not play any role in the evolution. And the fourth point, when these somatic cells are giving rise to germ cells, then those characters can be inherited. So those somatic cells which give rise to germ cells can pass on the variations to the next offspring. Because we have discussed here that in case of vegetative propagation and regeneration in animals, the somatic cells give rise to germ cells. So in that case, the somatic cells which give rise to germ cells can pass on character or variations that are acquired to the next generation. So these 4 points are coming under Neo-darwinism. That is the modified form of Lamarckism. So this is about the Lamarckism or Lamarck's theory of inheritance of acquired characters, and other theories step by step we'll discuss in the next videos. So thank you very much. God bless you. Have a good day.